Um, just to give a brief about today's session. Mental health is a universal human right, which means that every individual, regardless of their background or circumstances, has the inherent to enjoy the highest attainable standard of mental health. This would include access to mental health care, freedom from discrimination and stigma, and the ability to participate fully in society without the burden of untreated mental health conditions. The moment we talk about highest attainable standard, we also paint a picture of barriers and challenges to attain such a standard. So today's discussion would be around that, and I would request Ms. Radhika Sharma to speak her views on the subject matter.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are, Radhika.
Hi, I am Radhika. I am sorry if in the middle my audio might go in or out. I'm actually at my workplace and I'm logged in through my phone data. Other than that, if there are any issues, please feel free to let me or Nilangela know and I will adjust accordingly. I hope everybody here is well. And first of all, I would like to thank Nilanjana for having me. And on a day such as the World Mental Health Day just upon us, it's important to have these discussions actually. So I'm grateful to be here. Um, my brief view slash talk would be around the importance around why we should consider mental health a universal human right. How does it impact us in our everyday life, and what can we as individuals do to contribute, and even at a societal level? I am not sure how many of us are practitioners over here or students. Nilanjana, do we have an idea?
Yes, we do have a few practitioners as well as community implementers. So, great.
Oh, that's great then. Then I can, talk about a range of topics in the sense that, say, if we talk to a bunch of individuals who are not a part of the mental health community, usually the way to go about creating awareness and creating a mindset in them that it's a universal human right is that mental health is very closely related to our physical health. For example, being diagnosed with depression has been linked with lowered immune functioning, with the possibility of getting more common colds, fatigue, the body aches associated with fatigue. Long-term mental health issues are also highly correlated with long-term uh, chronic health conditions, actually. Then we have increased levels of stress in our everyday life lead to increased levels of cortisol in our bloodstream, which is also linked with heart disease. It causes our immunity to malfunction and hampers our productivity. Moreover, if we go further, as we all know, not being in our peak mental health or not feeling our best selves can affect our life satisfaction and decision making. It can also affect our ability to make the most out of our everyday life opportunities as well as our relational satisfactions. Because we don't realize that us, we are a part of a relational matrix. So, us not feeling good affects our relationships, which in turn affects our view of self, and hence it becomes almost like a downward spiral. And lastly, I would say there is a huge economic and global cost to mental health. Employee lapses, employee absenteeism, employee turnover can be estimated to, this is according to WHO, that every year there is 1 trillion US dollar worth of loss due to mental health issues. And consequently, or conversely, actually, for every $1 invested, we get a $4 return. That means for every $1 invested in mental health facilities or the mental well-being of employees, they do work that is profitable fourfold. So clearly it is impacting our productivity at work. Clearly it is impacting our inner world. However, what are the reasons that we might not pay attention to? There are many, obviously, but I'll quickly summarize whilst keeping in mind what we can do as individuals and as a community to kind of aid the awareness and receptivity towards mental health as a universal human right. First, I believe, like all of us working as mental health professionals and students, are aware of the societal devaluing of helping and care work and emotional labor. Works that cannot be quantified directly, that cannot be put into numbers, or again, as I repeat myself, quantified in any other way, are not valued to that extent. Secondly, we have issues related around morality of money, such that the goodness of a person is measured by how much they charge instead of the value of work they provide. So that also creates a hindrance at the availability of therapists and availability of accessibility of mental health to everybody, right? So when a professional charges, they are kind of almost derided for having the charges that they do, because we don't value, we measure their goodness. We say, oh, it's not moral to charge as much. They are charging for emotionally oriented work almost becomes a judgment of character instead of the value of the service that is provided in mental health. And hence, like we as individuals and even society, we don't look at, I'm sorry, if can somebody's mind, yeah.
Requesting everyone to please switch off your audio. Yeah, thank you. Radhika, I think you went on mute.
Sorry. Thank you for telling me. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So thirdly, stigma and capitalism don't allow us to prioritize our mental health, inner world, and experience over our material possessions. Like I would say, I can attest to that, because whenever I do speak to my students about what they would do, how they would prioritize, even psychology students often end up prioritizing material gains over experiential and emotional gains. It's just honestly, I believe the exposure we have as a society at times. Another restriction on the availability of mental health resources are the lack of systemic funding to mental health professionals, right? To offer subsidies. As we are aware, in India, insurance does not cover, and does not cover therapy, and there are no public health services that offer therapy. So the burden of reducing the cost falls on the therapist. And again, it kind of detracts from our responsibility to our clients and so on. Why I am focusing on the cost of therapy also as a part of it being a universal human right, is that how are we as therapists contributing and to the solution and the problem, right? So also there is a dearth of therapists. Even though it is a universally human right, there is a massive dearth of therapists, and the cost and training of becoming a therapist can be a huge burden to bear. Lastly, I feel that as individuals, sometimes we can be catered towards very, very quick fixes. We want a quick solution to our problem or our emotional state. As a society, I don't think we are at times geared towards uh, long-term work or even deep work, be it in short term, either way. So if we address these issues at an individual and social level, such as funding issues at an individual, at a social level and community levels, having public mental health services, and at individual levels, we work towards changing our mindset about emotional work, about intellectual nature of the work, the cost required, the role of therapists in the therapeutic space, in society, and within the session, I believe we could contribute significantly towards, you know, strategies that are needed and that can be used
20,
to promote
21, 20.
we could contribute significantly towards strategies that promote mental health for individuals, communities, and societies at large. I believe that's what I have for today. To wrap everything that I said, I would just quickly summarize that, yeah, I am sure we all know that mental health is and has become a universal human right. But how can we fix the problem of it at times not being so? You know, how can we as practitioners, students, teachers inculcate the values in ourselves that first bring in the change in us, then in those around us, and then at a societal and then at a systemic level? So these are the points that I would say I have. I'm so thankful to everybody for listening to me and taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much, Radhika. I think your talk here has been really valuable. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us, and we understand your prior commitment as well. So,
I'm so yes.
so thank you for being here, and thank you for the lecture, the discussion.
Thank you so much. It was just a very brief, quick overview of what I thought would be valuable. And thank you for everyone and their patience for being here.
Thank you. So I would move forward with Dr. Sahana, ma'am. Ma'am, if you would like to share us your observations on the matter and your thoughts and your insights into this topic that it's such a huge topic, and as you know, as a mental health professional, as a teacher, if you would share your insights with us as well.
Thank you, Nilanjana. And I would like to thank CINI for this initiative to promote mental health in such a large scale. Thanks the team CINI. I can see many CINI members here. So I wish you all a very constructive, meaningful, and creative World Mental Health Day. That is tomorrow, 10th October. And theme of the World Mental Health Day this year is our minds, our rights. And so to maintain our mental well-being, to promote mental health in all around us, among all around us, let's start with ourselves. So if we feel that it's our right to be healthy, both mentally and physically, we might take some responsibility as well for that, because with every right comes responsibility. So how can we start by maintaining mental health? It's very easy. And when we talk about positive mental health, positive psychology, it's always very fascinating. Usually, previously, say around 10 years ago, also a decade ago, also psychology always was related to something lacking, some condition, something to be healed, or something to be repaired, something to be cured. These are also very important aspect of psychology, but to promote our mental health, to remain healthy, to contribute our well-being, the positive psychology revolution, it helps us a lot, because it says that anybody, any person, whatever race, gender, age, ethnicity he or she might be, it's their right, and they can be healthy mentally. for to promote that, as when we take care of our physical health, we do a lot of exercise, or we take some precautions, or we eat healthy food or maintain hygiene. So if we want to take care of our mental health, we also need to do some mental exercise. We also need to take care of our feelings and emotions, like we do take care of our immunity system. For physical health, we need to take care of our emotional immunity and feelings for our mental health. How we do that? All of you might have some constructive practices to keep your mind happy or healthy. So, when we talk about happiness in positive psychology, Martin Seligman has said that happiness, we all have a right to be happy. You might agree with that. And happiness is the first one is a bit temporary. It creates temporary happiness. That's like when our needs are being fulfilled, we feel happy. Like I you can see, so many of my students have joined this webinar, so I feel happy. Oh, they're so active to promote mental health, so I feel happy. My need for connectivity has fulfilled, so I'm happy. Like your need for respect, or your need to acknowledge your emotion, or your need for some physical comfort, if they are get fulfilled, we feel happy. This is the first level of happiness. The second level of happiness, when we can focus on some activity, be it professional, be it personal, be it otherwise. If we can focus in that, and we can focus in that in such a way that it's we totally forget about what else is going around us. We are enjoying that work. It's a bit challenging as well as creative, and we are enjoying it. So we that creates a condition that is called flow. We enjoy the flow. So if we can do that regularly, at least for once a week, if we can enjoy flow, then we feel very happy, and we look forward to that. You might have some thing like that, something for example, who paints, they enjoy that, and they forgot about their time, or who is calling them, or what messages are there in their uh, social media. They just forgot about that and focus on that painting, or playing, or uh, writing something, or any creative writing. So these are called these second level of happiness that promotes our mental health very much. And the third level of happiness is that if we can find some purpose in our life that can contribute to something which is much bigger than us, may it be some causes of the nature or society, or next generation, or some ideology, or something else that will remain even after we are physically there no more. These issues will remain, and we can contribute to that in such a way that it will continue to exist even if I am not here. So for example, if I am speaking about mental health to many field workers, and some of them might get inspired with some of my suggestion, or my lectures, some part of my lecture, and applied that with another young person. So this thing will remain even if I am no longer active physically. So I am contributing to something like that. So if we can do it, we can find our own purpose in life, that we are contributing something that is much bigger than us, that will remain there even if we are not here physically. Then that promotes a very meaningful and very purposeful aspect of our life. and that is very, very good for our mental health when we can see that. So all these three types of happiness, all these three aspects of happiness, we can start contributing that. From many of you might have already done that, but if we do it more constructively, and we can uh, share these messages, share these learnings to others, then this will definitely create a better world, but which is more mentally healthy.
Right. What I hear, ma'am, is a lot about how mental health is a crucial part of who we are as an individual. Right. So in this journey of in our journey of say mental health, and if we broaden it up with say from an individual to a community and then to a broader society, right? We often come across different challenges, be it when we go to the community, like here in CNI, we have a mental health program, Teen Nine program, and we often see when we are going out there in the community for community outreach, and when we start talking about mental health, oftentimes we often hear responses where people are not aware of that there is something called mental health. Either it is blindsided or it is negated completely um, as something else, like not a problem at all. Okay? So, would you like to, talk about that as well? Um, yes.
Sure, that's a very important issue that you have raised, Nilanjana. Uh, अगर हम कम्युनिटी में जाके पूछते हैं कि आपके मेंटल हेल्थ कैसे है, तो लोग शायद कुछ नहीं बता पाएंगे। लेकिन अगर हम पूछे कि आज आप कैसे हैं, हाँ, आपका मन कैसे है, आपके घर के बच्चे कैसे हैं, कैसे सीख रहे हैं वो, और कैसे तरीका है उनकी, तो शायद वो लोग बहुत कुछ शेयर करेंगे। एंड एज दे शेयर, वी माइट एक्नॉलेज देयर फीलिंग्स. So if we can use these feelings words with them, they will also start using feelings words more often than action words. हम action words कहते हैं तो reactions ज्यादा मिलते हैं, हम feeling words कहते हैं तो feeling words ज्यादा सुनने को मिलेंगे. If I say you must do this for your mental health, they might not listen to me. But if I ask them, uh, say if some of your family member do this, how will you feel about it? Then they might share something, and this dialogue begins. It's very necessary to begin with the dialogue around mental health issues. हम जहाँ पे भी ये challenges face करते हैं कि हाँ सब कुछ ठीक है, हम we don't have any mental health issues, like be it in a engineering department of our university, or be it in a slum of Kolkata. It happens always. When we start talking about mental health issues in a group of young people, they will say, oh, yeah, all right, we have some social issues, or we have some political issues, or we have some logistical problem or financial problem, but we are mentally healthy, it's okay. We will say, yeah, definitely, that's very good, but I would like to know what to do about your mental health, or what you do to keep your mind so healthy. आप करते क्या है जो आप आपकी फिजिकल हेल्थ के लिए करते हैं रोज, शायद आप टाइम पे खाना खाते हैं, और ये आप भी कुछ दवाइयाँ लेते हैं वक्त पे, या फिर बीमार ना पड़े इसके लिए कुछ करते हैं, हाइजीन मेंटेन करते हैं, तो आपके मन अच्छा रहे, आपकी माइंड दिमाग ये सब एक्टिव रहे, आप इसके लिए क्या क्या करते हैं, प्लीज वो शेयर कीजिए, क्योंकि आपकी ग्रुप इतनी मेंटली हेल्दी है, आप कह रहे हैं, तो आई विल शेयर योर सजेशन विद अदर ग्रुप्स. ऐसे अगर पूछते हैं तो लोग कुछ उसके हिसाब से जो वो करते हैं वो स्टार्ट करते हैं. Or someone might think, or maybe some group remain silent for more than 1 minute because they haven't think about it, but they start the dialogue, then we can start there. And if we promote positive psychology and positive mental health, positive fantasy, so people will feel comfortable to talk about mental health issues with ease. Like we talk about pain in our knee joint or our back pain very openly in a private train or buses, and we can, or public transport system, we could talk about our indigestion problem or acidity problem. We will one day talk about that. I'm not feeling good, I'm not feeling happy, or I might share that I am very happy, my mental health is improved from this level to that level. So we hope that it is becoming like that, and this positive psychology movement has promoted mental health uh, to something that is that can accessed by all others, and can any general human being can be part of this movement.
Right, very well put, ma'am. So the narrative around mental health, the way we talk to people with respect to our mental health, changing the dialogues that we are using, changing the narrative, will definitely, I do believe, as a mental health counselor herself, believe that such a narrative change in dialogue would definitely bring about a change in the way we perceive, we have been perceiving mental health. And going forward, ma'am, I wanted to know if um, if if you can talk about a bit more on the strategies that could be implemented, or any strategies that would be helpful when it comes to individuals, a mental health professional, and community. That would contribute to the cause and promote um, more of help seeking behavior, more of gaining more, reaching out to more and more people in the community.
Yes. In that matter, I must thank all those ASHA workers we are doing who are doing wonderful work in community regarding promoting mental health. That they are a huge task force in our country, and I must thank them. So when we want to promote health seeking behavior, and when we want to talk about mental health, you mentioned narrative. These narratives, changing the dialogue and all these narratives, in fact, and there is a section called narrative therapy. We might not go to the therapy part itself, but we can use different narratives to promote mental health. For example, we can share a story about some young people or about some senior citizen in a community, and we might ask their suggestion. If there was such a young people, how how would you like to help her, or how would you like to help him? So probably that young people, we are sharing the narrative of someone, some uh, fictitious character who has some common issues that we can find in these young people's group of that community. So if we include that and share that this is a story about young people of a different community, can you please share some suggestion how we might help him or her? So people usually don't like to talk about own mental health problems, but most of them would like to help someone else who is suffering in similar conditions. So this often helps. And when we are discussing in a group regarding such issues, someone might say that, oh, I know in my family there is one person who suffers from such issues. So then it opens up more. And someone else, I would like to ask, Is there anyone else you would like to share about? And I often also suffer from these anxieties. Is there anyone else in this group who has some issues around anxiety? So these helps a lot. And often we use techniques like using painting, play, uh, sculpting, or narrate or story, or using these creative methods. People are comfortable to project their inner mind using these. In clinical psychology, are a set of tests called projective tests. We know that they can be used for diagnosis of some aspects of our personality, or some conditions. But we can use these projective techniques to promote mental health. Like if we see we start a story with some fictitious character. If we are talking about young people, animal characters are very popular among children. So we can share some example of some animal character and start a story and ask them to complete the story. So when they complete the story, in disguise of that animal character, they often share issues that are important to them. Either they share their need, or their expectations, or their apprehensions, or concerns, or wishes about themselves, or the around, or about the world around them. So they can project these issues in their paintings, in their scribbles, in their drawings, in their stories. So if some teachers are listening to this talk, whenever they are checking the homework of the student, they might turn the last page and see if there is any scribble in the last page. Often we find scribbles in young people's copy, and I might have a look at that, and I am very curious to have a look at that to scribbles, and I can find some patterns in it, and I might ask the young people, do you find any pattern in this scribble? Yeah, that it's very interesting to me. And together we can we can start a journey of finding patterns in something. As we do that, we finding pattern. What happens is that in our brain, the prefrontal cortex area of our brain, that is just behind our forehead, uh, this prefrontal cortex area of brain, that's works when we are planning something, we are imagining something, we are reasoning with something, we are having some long-term plan, or something, doing something creative. This PFC area, prefrontal cortex area of our brain, is active. So when we are using these projective techniques, one is that we are used to getting to know that all these needs, concern, or wishes of the young people, as well as we are helping the young person to exercise this part of the brain, that is PFC. As I was saying previously, that exercise for our physical health is very important. So exercise of the PFC to remain mentally healthy is very essential for us. And so we can use all these projective techniques. For example, in this time of the year, we often see very nice clouds around us, be it in Assam, or be it in West Bengal, or be it in Delhi. There are different shapes and sizes of clouds floating over us. So with the young people, we can look at them and see, do you see anything in that cloud? Do you see any pattern, or do you see any character? And together we may start a wonderful journey. Oh yes, there is a rabbit. Ah, there is a yeah,
Yes.
there was a, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, but it's the voice is breaking in between.
Mm.
Are you there, ma'am?
Okay. I have stopped the video. Is it more? Is my audio is more audible now?
Yeah, it is audible, ma'am. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm sorry that I have to keep my video off for that. Okay, we have a few more minutes. Just talk with them. So if we start finding patterns in clouds and see them together with some young people, you might start that, oh, see, there is a rabbit. और अरे देखो वहां पे एक नाव है, अरे देखो वहां तो एक बड़ा सा मूली है, या फिर वहां एक गाजर है, और एक यहाँ देखो एक टाइगर है और एक एलिफेंट है. So with all these exercises, we are actually promoting PFC activity. And as if PFC is more active, when there is a chance of emotional hijacking due to our emotional area of the brain, that is amygdala, if in some negative situation, we are feeling too much fear or anxiety or rage or frustration, amygdala is very active. But PFC can take control of our brain if it is more active. So to keep that balance in favor of PFC, we need exercises, like we exercise physically. We keep our muscles strong, we do some cardio or some aerobics to keep our muscles up, or some yogasana. Uh, so we need these PFC activities to keep our PFC strong and to manage our emotions with that.
Right. So what we are also talking a lot is the way we are engaging with children and then later building their capacity to have a strong narrative or talk more about building their curiosity, curious minds into talking more about feelings, being more expressive. Ma'am, as per our session, I would also like to hear a bit more about regarding the mental health stigma that is often there, but it is often less spoken about, and then the discrimination that is there, and also all the vulnerable people with respect to when it comes to mental health. Getting the services, even if there are services, there are most pockets of people they are not are able to avail those services. So, given our session is also on mental health as a universal human right, so I thought that why not talk a bit about this matter as well.
Yes, stigma is a very big challenge. So for people seeking mental health services or engaging in mental health promoting behavior, stigma is a very big problem. With the revolution of positive psychology, it is a bit less now, but still there. And if we could normalize dialogue around mental health issues, it will reduce stigma gradually. And whenever we see that there is some apprehension regarding talking about mental health issues or seeking mental health services, particularly mental health services, particularly medicine, when someone comes to our chamber or access counseling session online, and we want to refer them to some psychiatrist for medicine, people often have a lot of resistance to that. So we use other analogies to normalize that. For example, I often say that, you can see that I wear glasses. Do you feel that I wear glasses, it's a very odd or it's something abnormal. So they will say that no, because you want to see better, that's why you wear glasses. I say yes. You know, my the lens in my eyeballs, there are two sets of lens, but their focusing ability is not at par. So I need extra pair of glasses, extra pair of lens to focus and see things clearly. Without this, I will be able to see, but not clearly, some hazy sights. So it's better for me to wear glasses. So you agree that it's a healthy thing, or I am intelligent that I am using glasses other than going and knocking at some object, seeing something hazy. They will agree with that. Then I see that I need to balance the activity of my own biological lenses of my eyes with these extra lenses. So accordingly, in our brain, there are some chemicals called neurotransmitters. They are chemicals in our brain. So sometimes they get there is some imbalance in them. ये कुछ केमिकल लोचा हो जाते हैं उसमें, इम्बैलेंस हो जाते हैं उसमें. तो केमिकल को बैलेंस करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? अगर हम लेंस को बैलेंस करने के लिए एक्स्ट्रा लेंस यूज कर रहे हैं बाहर से, तो केमिकल्स अगर इम्बैलेंस है तो उसको बैलेंस करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? तो वो लोग बोलेंगे कि हाँ, केमिकल्स ही तो चाहिए. हाँ ठीक, बिल्कुल. और ये केमिकल्स ही तो क्या कहते हैं, दवाई, medicine. So we, to balance these chemicals, we need some other chemicals which are called medicine. So is that very abnormal or very odd or very something? They will say no. With a bit of thinking, they will say no. And then go and see a doctor. If he or she advises some medicine, then take it and see what happens. If there is any side effect, you can also check with that. You can also ask the psychiatrist to change the medicine molecule, change the chemical, and see what happens. Like sometimes the first glass we get needs some adjustment. We change the lens of that glass. So that might happen with your chemicals also. It's very common. So if we normalize things around these, taking medicines or talking to a mental health expert, this stigma, they will gradually decrease. I hope. I am hopeful of that. Because in our university I'm associated with, I have seen people who used to spread rumors against some mental health services, but they are now sending people to access counseling services or to talk to the clinical psychologist or to meet the psychiatrist. So people changes, and because it helps us in our well-being, it contributes to our happiness, and it promotes a more healthy social world, it will gradually change. We need to for some time, when we are talking about these issues with general public, we need to keep aside the jargons. We need to keep aside our expert position, or because I feel that in a person's life, he or she is the expert. And also I also feel that when talking about all these positive aspects of mental health, like creativity, like flexibility, or like finding meaning in apparently so-called meaningful things going around us, children can be expert. Children and adolescents, they are expert in that. I often follow their lead. I love to follow their lead.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much for your insights. I would also open the session for discussion as well. If there are someone within us, among us, the participants, if they would like to, talk about more from their experience as well, then they could do so.
चलिए पूछ लेते हैं किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है कि नहीं, अगर है तो हाथ उठाइए और पूछ लीजिए।
Because this is also once in a moment opportunity for us to get to know more about this field, about mental health, and हम में से जितने भी यहाँ पे है किसी ना किसी तरह से mental health के प्रोग्राम में related है, and of course mental health is crucial, हम सबके लाइफ में एक integral part play करते हैं. So if anyone have any questions, and ma'am is here.
और देखिए यहाँ पे हम लोग 43 पीपल है, ये एक साबुत है कि हम मेंटल हेल्थ के लिए कितनी एक्टिव है।
If there are no questions, ma'am, then we are moving towards the. Okay, we have a question from someone. Raise their hands. If you would unmute and please.
First of all, very nice session and very good initiative from CINI. Thank you for organizing this. We enjoyed the session very much. One question is coming to my mind. If mental health is a right, what kind of right it is? Is it an implicit right, or do we need to ask for it or claim it explicitly? And in what way? How would people know that if I have a mind, I have mental health, so my right is already fulfilled? Is it already an implied circularity? Or there are some criteria that I need to, I have a checklist that if I have this, then my I am enjoying this mental health, right of mental health. Otherwise, my rights are not being fulfilled. Are we aware in that sense, or is it just implied?
Yeah, this theme of this year's World Mental Health Day is to claim that and to make us more aware about the rights, that I must ask for it. There is some right, but I must ask for it explicitly if I want to access some mental health services, or if I am being stigmatized because of some mental health issues I may have suffered in the past, or if I want to promote some mental health activities and people are resisting to that, I need to access that, and we must claim that right. And our Mental Health Care Act 2017 is a very good act to promote our mental health rights. We have such a nice act in our country. And there are also different policies around the world that are promoting mental health rights.
May I add one sentence to my question? I was listening to the positive psychology movement, and I got very much inspired by that. So if I do not have a diagnosis of mental illness, even then, may I claim any mental health right? Or until and unless I have some kind of mental illness or mental health issues, I should not explicitly ask for any kind of mental health right. And what to ask for? What is the thing that I need to ask for? I do not even know what should I ask. What I do not have, what I can have more.
No, I don't need, we don't need to have any particular condition or particular criteria to ask for our mental health rights. As a citizen of this country, we all have these mental health rights, but to ask for it to remain mentally healthy, to remain in a good or in a sound mental health, we need something like that, sharing our feelings, safe space to share something, or to talk about our mental health issues, like, oh, I'm not feeling okay, I'm feeling very frustrated at something, or I am doing my work late because I was very depressed the last week. So if we want to talk about this, and we can do, if someone is uh, stigmatizing us, oh, you are depressed, हाँ, ये क्या बात हुई, आप एक पढ़े लिखे इंसान हो, आपको क्यों डिप्रेशन होगा, आप एक अच्छी खाते पीते घर के हो. Then we must protest that no, it's my right to talk about my mental health issues. You can't keep that, you can't overpower me and stop sharing, can't stop me from sharing my concern regarding my mental health issues. For that, I don't need any diagnosis or any criteria or any condition. As a normal, as a so-called normal human being, or as any general public, I can claim my mental health rights. My rights and my responsibilities around mental health, and all these, to talk about all these, to create more awareness. This World Mental Health Day is celebrated all over the world.
Exactly, ma'am. Today's session is also an attempt to increase our reach, to spread the word of mental health. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the answer, ma'am. Do we have any other questions? Okay, then we are moving to the closing of the session. I want to express our grateful.
There is a question in the chat.
Please. Yes. Yes, it was. Okay, let me read out the chat. Priyanka writes, it was a pleasure listening to Ms. Sahana Nag and knowing about the positive psychology contributions in the domain of mental health, which has been a departure from clinical perspective of mental health. Mental health is not mental illness, only mental well-being, mental growth, and a very important part of our mental health, perhaps more. Mental health has finally moved forward from illness and healing perspective to well-being and growth. Very well written, I believe. Ma'am, if you have any words for Priyanka as well.
Thank you very much, Priyanka, for sharing this in the writing. And yes, this is the essence of mental health at current world. Thank you very much. So we must, all of us must be very active from nowadays to promote well-being and growth for us, to claim our rights, and for others who are around us and who could not be here or could not be access some other mental health services, but we can help them to reach mental health services, or to talk about their rights around mental health issues, or to stop being stigmatized, or to include more people who have already received mental health services from other areas or other organization, to include them in our day-to-day journey, in all our decision-making programs and things like that.
Right, bringing more of the component of mental health into the mainstream of healthcare as well. Yes. So as we draw the discussion to a close, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to both panelists, Dr. Sahana Nag and Ms. Radhika Sharma as well, and all the participants who have joined us today. Our exploration of the idea that mental health is a universal human right has been very insightful and thought-provoking. Also, as we leave this virtual space, let us carry forward the knowledge and inspiration we have gained here. Let us challenge the stigma that surrounds the mental health and work towards more accessible and equitable mental health care. So thank you all for being part of this important, very important dialogue. And let us all be in our own, whatever little we can do, be a part and be champions for mental health today and every day. Thank you so much and goodbye and take care. Thank you, ma'am.